So I think we'll get started. I will call the closed session meeting of the May 18th meeting of the Sonora City Council to order, and roll call.
Mayor Garaventa,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hawkins,
Here.
Councilmember Plummer,
Here.
Councilmember Such,
Here.
and Councilmember Williams. Connie, you're on mute, but we heard you. We saw you.
We saw you. Okay. Item B is public comments on the closed session item, and I'm going to just go ahead and read the closed session item. It's threat to public services or facilities, Government Code Section 54957, consultation with Douglas L. White, City Attorney, and basically it's the COVID situation.
Yep.
So if there's anyone in the public that would like to speak on that item in particular, now's your opportunity. And Doug, I'm going to let you explain again how that works.
Yep, so we're going to be going down to a breakout room. So this screen will keep going, but
No, I mean the public comment portion.
oh, I'm sorry.
How they can, if
Yeah,
they
how
want.
they can participate. So if you would like to speak, please, if you're on a computer, hit the go to participants and go to the bottom, and there'll be a button that says raise your hand, and press that raise your hand button. If you are on a phone or tablet device, there'll be a more button that you press, and then there'll be a raise your hand function on that you should press. That will let us know you want to speak. And if you are on a phone, press *6 and it will raise your hand. So if anybody would like to do that, and I haven't muted anybody, so if somebody would like to talk, you could also unmute yourself.
Okay, so if anyone would like to speak on our closed session item, now's the time to do that. Otherwise, we will be going out into the break rooms, into our closed session, and coming back, and we will actually probably report out at 5 o'clock when we start our regular meeting. So if you're just here for the regular meeting, just hang on and we'll start that at 5 o'clock. So I'm not hearing any public comment on our closed session item. So Doug,
All right.
ready to go to the breakout rooms.
All right, I'm going to start signing, folks.
Okay.
All staff.
All staff, please.
So what I'm going to do is report out that on the, where's my nice little agenda here? So we're reconvening back into open session and announce that no action is being taken. And all we've done is just given direction to staff, and that we will be starting our open session, the regular meeting at 5 o'clock, and we'll be taking a short break until then. So I'm going to call to order the 5 o'clock open session meeting of the Sonora City Council of May 18th. And Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, since you're in the place where the flag is, you get to lead us in the pledge. And you need to unmute yourself. Or actually, it doesn't matter. Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, I see. Okay.
I am a big fan. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America, to the republic which stands, nation, indivisible, with justice for all. Okie dokie. All right, item A is roll call.
Okay, Mayor Garaventa,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Hawkins,
Here.
Councilmember Plummer,
Here.
Councilmember Such,
Here.
Councilmember Williams.
Here.
All right, we have a full quorum. Item B is city clerk's report on the agenda posting.
Sorry about that. I thought I was on mute. It was posted Thursday, May 14th at 12:15 p.m.
Okay. Item C is approval of the agenda. Is there any additions, corrections, subtractions, omissions? Okay, seeing none, I will go to item D, which is public comment on non-agenda items. The public may address, excuse me, the public may address the council on any item of public interest not otherwise on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the city. No action may be taken. Matters to be addressed may be referred to city staff or placed on a subsequent meeting agenda. Speakers are limited to a 5-minute presentation. And I understand our fire chief, Amy New, would like to make a comment. Amy?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. So I just wanted to do a point of clarification from our meeting special meeting we had last Thursday. One of the business owners downtown had made a comment that we had conversations about closing Bradford Street down. Our discussion was on closing the streets like we had with Leinenberg permanently, and I just wanted to make clarification that we did have conversations of that business owner closing Bradford Street down temporarily to hold 1 or 2 temporary events, kind of like the tap room had done on Leinenberg. But our conversation was about closing streets permanently, and so there was some confusion. I just want to make a point of clarification that I did have conversations with that business owner about potentially closing Bradford for some special events, but that would need to be approved through the city council. So I just wanted to let everybody know that was on the meeting, so the business owner wasn't left out in the cold thinking that we did not have those conversations about a couple special events. We did have those conversations. Fire department did not have an issue with that because we would take an alternative route knowing that if it was approved through the council, when those dates would be. So I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, thank you. So is there any other public comment? And Doug, why don't you go through how the public, through the Zoom process of how people can make their public comment?
Yeah, if you would like to make a comment to the council, please use the raise your hand function. If you're on a phone, please press *9 and that will raise your hand. If you are on a computer, go under the participants tab, and at the bottom of that, there'll be a button that says raise your hands. Please click on that. If you are on a phone or tablet device, look for a button that says more, and under that button that says more, there'll be a function that says raise your hand. Also, for the most part, everybody is controlling their own volume right now because people have gotten pretty good at Zoom. And so if one of those functions don't work, you can either use the chat function or which will send it just to me. Then I can read out your question, or you can unmute yourself and that will give you the opportunity to talk. So Mayor, at this time, we do have one comment from John Williams' iPhone.
Okay, John?
Yeah, thank you for letting me speak. I just wanted to address issues, maybe just for my own business, but some of the businesses along Washington Street. And I wasn't sure where it would fit into the agenda.
Okay.
But regardless of that, businesses along Washington Street have suffered greatly. In most cases, we have had zero income heading into 2 months. And there certainly is a lot of discussion about that and when that'll end or what partial phase will end in. But I thought it'd be important for the council and the city administration to consider 2 things and to create a more positive pro-business atmosphere in the future. I think for most independently owned businesses along Washington Street, we have only begun to face the most difficult part of ownership in downtown Sonora. Once we are allowed to reopen again, we're likely to face 3 months, 6 months, 12 months of business at 20% of our old volume, 30% of our own volume, 50% of our own volume. A slow death like that can be just as bad as living through 2 months of zero income. And I thought it would be important for us to start thinking of that as a future. I've long said that downtown Sonora, its biggest attraction, what brings people to downtown Sonora, is the fact that there are businesses there. Otherwise, people could visit a motherlode ghost town like Bodie or San Andreas with empty buildings. we face a long, slow progress. I've been open for 2 weeks. Most days I'm seeing about 20% of my previous volume. And I can't completely put together a long-term strategy to survive at that rate for 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. To create a pro-business atmosphere, I think the city and the city administration need to create a plan, something to provide some kind of help and restitution to the businesses along Washington Street. If you walk up and down the street now, these closed businesses, most have notes on their doors telling their customers, call us here, email us here, get on our website. They're trying to connect with their customers. In a lot of ways, your clients as a city administration are the businesses along Washington Street. Are we being communicated with? For me, the only interaction I had was news reports that you had created fines for me to be at my business, and some Facebook posts threatening
John, did we lose you?
fines against me.
Okay.
And I actually think that when I say proactive, we might start communicating with business owners, indicating that we would like to help them survive through this long, difficult period. But I think we need to plan something. And I think it needs to include the business owners. But mostly I would need you to know that the road ahead, once it's opened and it's supposedly returned to normal, is going to be a long, hard road. We've already seen a few closures along Washington Street. But thank you.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Jim.
Sure. As you know, we can't respond directly necessarily to all the public comment when it comes, but be reassured that we will be taking your comments under strong advisement and see what we can do. Is there any other public comment?
No, I've lost voice contact with this meeting,
We can still hear you.
We can hear you.
and I'm not sure why.
Okay, now you
There you
mute.
go.
Oh.
Well, you had yourself muted. Was there anyone else in the public that'd like to speak on public comment, not agenda?
Again, please use the raise your hand function if you'd like to speak. Mayor, I don't see any.
I'm going to have to leave the meeting and come back. I have
Well,
no
hang on, John.
contact with
Hang on, John.
anyone right now.
John, wait a minute. Oh, all right. Well, I was going to see if Doug, if you could mute him.
No, thanks, Mark.
I texted John to let him know that we can still hear him.
Okay. Well, we'll figure it out. I'll mute him, Mayor, if it becomes an issue.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm looking and seeing that there's no other public comment at this point. Then we will move to item E, which is consent calendar. Items on the consent calendar are considered routine and will be voted on in one motion unless a council member or member of the public has a question or wishes to discuss an item. In that case, the item will be removed from the consent calendar and considered separately. And there's only one item. It's approval of disbursements in the amount of $146,058.48 for payroll, inclusive of employee salaries, employer and employee taxes and retirement contributions, and miscellaneous voluntary employee deductions. So is there, first, any questions by council members? Seeing none, is there any public comment on the consent calendar?
Again, if you'd like to comment, please use the raise your hand feature. If you're on a phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand.
Okay, seeing no public comment, I'll bring it back to the council for discussion or motion.
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Plummer and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Hawkins to approve the consent calendar. Any further discussion? If not, I'll call for the question. Roll call vote. Almost. Mary Rose. Roll call vote.
Sorry, I was on mute again. I apologize. Trying to take minutes too. Mayor Garaventa,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hawkins,
Aye.
Councilmember Plummer,
Aye.
Councilmember Such,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Okay, the consent calendar passes unanimously. Item F is public hearings. There are none scheduled. Item G is unfinished business, is one item. It's informational item to discuss Governor Newsom's executive order N-33-20, requiring all citizens to stay at home unless needed to maintain operation of essential critical infrastructures. And the presenter is Douglas L. White, City Attorney. Or do you want to go to Mary Rose?
I go, or
first?
do you want to go?
Mary Rose.
So this is our item that we allow any member of the public to ask us any questions in regards to where we're at with our COVID pandemic. As I'm sure members of the public are aware, Tuolumne County last week entered into phase what we call 2B, if you will, which allowed us through an attestation of the Public Health Department to move at an accelerated pace through phase 2. And it allowed us to open retail businesses and restaurant for in-dining with certain social distancing guidelines that businesses had to check off that they complied and submit those guidelines to the Public Health Department. Public Health has then been submitting those businesses that are in compliance to us at City Hall. Also, last Thursday, the City Council approved an urgency ordinance to allow for outdoor seating for our businesses, our restaurant businesses. We have posted a brief outdoor permit application on the front page of our website for those businesses that are interested in allowing for your outdoor seating outside of your restaurant business. I would urge you to please go to the website. The application is there, and please feel free to call our Community and Economic Development Department, our Community Development Department. If you have any questions in regards to filling out that application or any questions in regards to what that outdoor permit entails. So right now, again, we're in this phase 2B, which allows for the expansion of essential businesses that are allowed to be open, which includes retail, it includes restaurants, but there are guidances and guidelines that businesses have to be checking off and submitting to public health. If you have questions, the Public Health Department on your checklist, to fill out on your checklist, the Public Health Department, please request that you contact them directly. We're trying to ensure that we have one succinct message to our Tuolumne County businesses. So we ask you to reach out to Public Health, and I believe their phone number is 533-7440 in regards to your checklist to provide to Public Health. But if you have questions in regards to the outdoor seating for your restaurant business, please feel free to call Community Development, which is 532-3508. Rochelle, correct me if I'm wrong. And we're just plugging along. The governor announced today that he is going to be allowing more counties to submit attestations to be able to open up more broader under phase 2, that he is thinking that 53 out of the 58 counties would qualify to open up broadly under phase 2. And that he's hoping that hair salons will be able to open up in early June. So we're hoping, we get to that point here rather quickly. Hair salons were supposed to be opening up under phase 3. So if we can get to that stage, that means we're moving ahead pretty good. And once again, if you have any questions in regards to what's open, and what your business, if you have any questions about your business, please call our Community Development Department. One last point to make before we open it up for questions. City Hall now is officially back open for the public. We do ask you to please observe physical distancing guidelines when you're in City Hall, and at all times, please, if you can make an appointment, it would be much appreciated. Other than that, Mayor and council members, if you have any additional questions.
Okay. Is there any questions for Mary Rose by council members? So, don't see any. Doug, were you going to have a part of this presentation, or is it Mary Rose?
No, I mean, she did better than I could do, so I'll kind of leave it
Okay.
at that. I think the only thing I'd add is that we are saying the cosmetology is likely to come back in the beginning of June. So, but she did a better job than I would do, so we'll just leave it there.
Okay. Well, your name's on the agenda, so
I know.
that's why I asked. Okay, so if there's no questions for staff, then I'm going to go ahead and open it up for public comment. And again, Doug, if you would, because I know we've had some people join us since the last item.
Yeah. So just
explain how people can do that comment.
So I'm going to go through the longer version of it. So we're asking people to use the raise your hand function, which if you're on your phone, press *9 and that will raise your hand effectively. If you're on your computer, go down to your participants button at the bottom. And then at the bottom of that, there'll be a raise your hand button that you can press. And if you're on a tablet or phone, hit the more button, and then there'll be a raise your hand button that you can press. You can also use the chat function, which sends the questions to me, which I'm going to read to the council. Or you can potentially unmute yourself if you can't figure it out any other way, because I haven't done a global mute. Mayor, we do have one person who's asked a question on the chat line.
Okay.
From Jake and Nan. The question is, where can the public view the changes restaurants have made to be compliant and to view the guidelines?
Yeah.
Okay.
So would you like me to answer that?
Yes, please.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
So for restaurants, if you're looking at a particular restaurant, if they've completed a checklist, I think that was the question, Doug?
Yep.
So they are supposed to post their checklist on the front of their building so that the public can view it. So if they don't have their checklist completed, they really shouldn't be open at this juncture. So make sure that that checklist is visible. You can also ask them directly for the checklist. It is supposed to be supplied to any member of the public at any given time. You can also go directly to the Public Health Department by 533-7440 and ask for that checklist as well. So again, on the front of the building, you can ask for it directly, or you can contact Public Health, as they are the keeper of all the checklists.
Okay. So then I'm going to go ahead and open it for public comment. Is there anyone who'd like to speak on this item?
Again, please use the raise your hand function if you'd like to speak.
Okay, I am not seeing anybody. Are you, Doug?
Nope, Mayor, I don't see anyone.
Okay, then I'll close the public comment, bring it back to the council for any further discussion or questions or whatever. Okay. So that's an informational item only. It's no action required. So then we'll just move on to item H, which is new business. And item number 1 is consideration to reassign the mayor's appointments to city committees and government and community and government committees and commissions. And did you want to say anything? Go ahead, Mary.
I can start it out, Mr. Mayor,
Sure.
if you will. So at the request from Councilmember Williams, we are asking the council to consider the mayor's reappointment to your city council committees and commissions. The mayor has put together a list of those committees and commissions and the council member that would represent those committees and commissions. I have handed that out to you council members. I've emailed to Council Member Sutch and Council Member Williams. And Mr. Mayor, if you would like, did you want to speak in regards to the committees that you put together?
Not necessarily. As you know, this is just a temporary assignment until the whoever becomes the new mayor, was assumably Mr. Hawkins, but that whoever makes the new assignments come July, these are just temporary until that point. I don't know if there's. I talked with Matt over the reassignments, but I don't know if the other council members had any qualms about any of the assignments, because I didn't really get back to them. I see Clint's got her hand up. So that's basically where we're at. It's just a temporary procedure until July. Colette, did you have an issue?
I
problem?
just want to thank you for the assignments, and I'm happy to take all the ones you gave me.
Oh,
That's all.
cool. Okay.
I have a visit.
Did I hear? I thought I heard something. So, no. Okay. So, is there any public comment on reassignment, temporary reassignments of council member assignments?
Again, members of the public, please use the raise your hand function. And if you're on a phone, press *9.
And once this list is approved, it will be available on the website for members of the public to view.
Oh, Mayor, I apologize. I missed one comment by Councilmember Williams. 2 more committees, Energy Action Plan Working Group and Vision Sonora Design and Marketing.
Okay. Well, does any council members want to take those on? The energy is, oh, I forget, it's the, toward the end of the month on a Wednesday, I believe. I think it's the 3rd or 4th Wednesday. And Colette, you have your hand up. I
You're on
can't,
mute.
you need to unmute.
I'm just volunteering I'm willing to take those as well.
Well,
If-
that would be fine with me because you know my schedule. I'm,
Right.
working pretty strongly. So if that's okay with everybody else, if you want to take it on those two. And I see nodding heads from Mr. Hawkins, Mr. Plummer, unless Mr. Plummer, I don't know if he's got some free time. No, he doesn't want, okay.
Okay. well,
Okay. So then we'll add the energy one and the design committee for the Vision Sonora to Colette as well. Colette, you have your hand up again?
Yeah, I just would ask if it'd be really nice if if I knew what day and time these new committees met. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not sure when the Vision Sonora Design Committee meets,
I know that one because I'm on it.
and I believe that it's it's usually a Wednesday in the 20s of the month when I
Energy.
would maybe think it'd be the 4th Wednesday for the energy. But I think Connie's typing that in now as we speak.
Okay.
It's either the 3rd or 4th Wednesday, if I remember correctly.
But there are others that I've been assigned that I don't know when they meet. So I looked them up. I tried to see if I could find it on the website, but they're not listed.
Well, as you know, our city subcommittees are kind of, we haven't been doing a whole lot of meeting of those, and we may not in the next month and a half.
Connie just posted 3 to 4, 4th Wednesday.
For
And
energy.
that's for the energy one. 3 to 4 on the 4th Wednesday.
Okay.
And then the Transportation Council, that's second Wednesday at 3. Although we're gonna have a special meeting this day after tomorrow at 3. I don't know if Matt can make it or not.
You mean on Wednesday?
Yeah, isn't that gonna be our special meeting?
I think so. Yeah, because I got the email.
Okay.
Email.
So Matt, are you going or do I go?
No, with the way things have been funneled down at work, there's no way I can make it. If I take any time off, I actually lose the unemployment and everything else. It's really odd.
Okay, so I'm sorry, when is Tuolumne County Transportation? Jim?
It's usually the second Wednesday at 3, but we're gonna have a special meeting because we've kind of failed on our way of doing our Zoom meeting. So it's gonna be this Wednesday is gonna be the redo of the meeting.
This
At
Wednesday?
3, yeah, day after tomorrow at 3.
Okay,
And as for ATCA, I'm not really sure when they meet, but I imagine you can get with Connie or with Joe or whoever you need to get
And how
But
about,
we can find that out.
Yeah, and I'll try to get all the information of when the committees meet, and I'll mail that out to all the council members.
okay, that would be great. Thanks.
It would be very
We'll
helpful.
try to get it posted online too. I'll
Cool.
solicit Chris to help me do that.
I like that. Chris with his grumpy look all of a sudden. Okay, again, any public comment on this item? Basically, all we're doing is doing some rearranging of committee assignments for the next month and a half. And I see Connie's typing, so I'm gonna wait till she's done there.
We're waiting for Connie to type a little bit. I would like to thank her for
Mhm.
she's put in for 8 years now on all these committees. And when you see what is added to our list of duties, she's been doing yeoman's work for a long time
Yep.
and represented us in the city very well. Thank
Yes.
you, Connie.
I agree.
Okay. Doug, can you read the,
I have done this for 8 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie.
thank you, Connie. You've done very well. Great, done great.
And Connie, thanks for Lindenberg Street. That wouldn't have happened without you. And that's made this reopening a whole lot easier for a whole lot of businesses. So thank you.
Okay, so this is consideration, so I'm looking for a motion.
Move to approve.
I will second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Mayor Pro Tem Hawkins and seconded by Councilmember Plummer to approve the reassignments of the committees. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Mary Rose?
Mayor Garaventa,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hawkins,
Aye.
Councilmember Plummer,
Yes.
Councilmember Such,
Bye.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, item H under new business, number 2 is adopt resolution number 05-18-2020-A, approving a list of projects to receive road maintenance and rehabilitation account funding. Mary Rose.
So this item, I'm gonna go ahead and let your Administrative Services Director, Chris, update you. This is our yearly annual SB1 resolution that the council must pass. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh,
Chris?
yep. So this is a resolution to adopt a list of street projects for the SB1 road maintenance and rehabilitation funding, which is the gas tax. In order to receive funding, we do not need to have an approved list that's approved by council. In fiscal 21, this will be our 4th year of receiving funding. We receive approximately $65,000 each year. We have not spent that money yet, so we do have now a small pot of money to complete a couple of projects. The 2 projects that we have on our list, the new project is it's Snell Street from the city limits to Bonanza. It includes overlay and striping. That was the #1 on the priority list that we received from, I believe, Jerry. And then the previously approved project from prior fiscal years is various striping projects. And there is a list of those on the resolution.
Okay, is there any questions for staff on this item?
So,
Colette had her hand up.
sorry.
Let's,
Am I muted? No.
yeah, you're on.
So the city engineer is the one who presents the projects that need to be, or prioritizes the projects? Is that how it works?
Yes, there is a list of projects. I believe that the engineer and public works work together to have a priority of projects. And number one on the list, and since we have been saving this money basically for a larger project, we decided to put this one on our list.
Is there any way that I could see that list? I would like to review that list if possible. I mean, not right now, but just in the future. I mean, like, I'm just curious, where is Linneberg, where it meets Bradford and the whole shoulder is collapsing into the back of Safe Mart? Where's that on the list? Do you know?
Can I comment on that just a little bit,
Please.
Colette? I've kind of been helping Mary Rose with the public works side of it since she started, and working with Mike. So we actually did a kind of a walkabout to look at projects that are still pending that haven't occurred. Some of the storm damage stuff that happened a couple storms back, several years back. One is the Leinenberg location, as well as Hospital Road. There's the issue with Hospital Road that was also damaged in the same storm system that came through. So what we have done is we put a list, Mike and I put a list of projects together. We met with Mary Rose, we met with Chris, and then we also met with the city engineer. And we looked at those projects as well as projects that have been carried through on the SB1 funding. None of those projects had solid numbers with them. I think what happened in the past is there was kind of an estimate that was thrown out as to what those costs would be. So we actually had Jerry take a look at those projects to find the actual cost that it would be for those projects. So we actually have those dollars. The Leinenberg Street and the Hospital Road, I don't believe is eligible for SB1 funding. So Snell and the striping is the ones that we are continuing to pull forward off of that list. But the city is going to have to look at different funding source to get those two projects done, and they are pretty pricey. So Chris and I will be talking about those as we try to identify funds that we might be able to use for those two projects.
Yeah, in our budget presentation on June 1st, we have basically we're looking at all the funds that may be available, and there has been some gas tax and other funds. It's not the SB1 monies, but other gas tax revenue that we receive that we can program for other projects. So we are looking to allocate as much as we can from these other funds for this difficult budget that we're facing, but it will still allow us to do several of these projects.
And why are they not eligible for SB1 funds? If Snell Street's eligible, I'm just surprised. What's the?
I don't know. I wasn't part of the original SB1 part of it. I just know that they were never included, and so I went with Mike and we tried to find dollars that are amounts that we know we were going to have to do for them. So I don't know the total criteria for SB1.
Yeah, I don't think it was that it wasn't eligible. It was more that there are other gas tax revenues that we can set aside for those. And we are in the next budget on June 1st.
I just would like to say that I think Linneberg should be considered a priority because, I mean, it's been cordoned off like that for 5 years, I think now. And I just, just makes the city look like it's not maintained to me, more than striping on Snell Street, but okay, thanks.
I will tell you on the striping stuff, Mike was telling me he really wants us to get that project going because he gets a lot of complaints from people in the community about the lack of striping on some of the roads. So I imagine that's why that got put on the list. Chris and I talked about a game plan as getting these projects started. First, we'll get out on the striping, and we can do that full project within a year. Snell Street, we're probably going to have to do engineering design with Jerry and then pull more money out of the following year. But we do have Leinenberg. We also have some stoplight issues that have to be addressed. There's some deferred maintenance things that we're going to have to work through, and we'll be bringing those to you. And we are trying to get ahead of it. I think things kind of lag, so we're trying to get ahead of it.
Thanks.
So my only suggestion that I'll throw out there with the Snell Street when in the planning stages is just that there's some sort of speed mitigation measures. I don't know if that'd be the exact term. I used to live there, obviously, and I mean, people either coming down the hill or going up the hill at 65, 70 miles an hour is not uncommon. So just something to put out there for the future, future thought process on that.
Okay. Yeah, you make it nice, you make it a nice road. It's gonna be a little people flying up there faster and faster.
And that was my argument. We talked about this actually probably 8 years ago now, 9 years ago now. And that was one of my arguments if we're going to pave it. And again, I don't plan on trying to stand in the way of this or anything, but my whole idea is the fact that we needed to do something because of the amount of speeding is there. And it's ridiculous. I know Chief Vanderwill could speak to it too, but I actually would invite the police to sit in front of my house and do radar because it was just that bad.
Okay,
We'll look at that at the time we put it together.
Yeah. Thank you, Rochelle.
Mr. Plummer.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is just a comment on the striping of Snell Street when we get that far along. It would be very nice to have the crosswalk that's right at the sort of the foot of the high school to have the zebra striping instead of just 2 lines. It appears when I cross it, I do it frequently, that traffic just doesn't even see it as a crosswalk.
Okay. The other thing on that street, just so you guys know, Jerry, when we brought Jerry into the loop, there's a spring issue. There's a water issue under that street, and that's one of the concerns. And that's why there's quite a big cost on that project, because it's actually deteriorating the street from underneath.
And just, I know you guys all know this, but you know, the city receives 65,000 from SB1, and we receive another maybe 60, 70,000 from other gas tax. And that does not go very far.
No.
When you have 3-something square miles of roads.
Exactly. Okay, any further questions for staff? Seeing none, I'll go ahead and open up to public comment.
Yeah, Mayor, if any member of the public would like to talk, please use the raise your hand function. If you're on a phone, press *9.
Hey, is there anyone like to speak on this item?
I don't see anyone who's raised their hand, Mayor.
Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and close public comments and bring it back to the council for discussion, further discussion or motion.
I'll make a motion to approve, to adopt resolution number 05-18-222020-A, approving a list of projects to receive road maintenance and rehabilitation account funding.
I'll second it.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Such and seconded by Councilmember or Mayor Pro Tem Hawkins to adopt the resolution. Is there any further discussion? If not, I'll call for the question. Mayor Rose.
Mayor Garaventa,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hawkins,
Aye.
Councilmember Plummer,
Yes.
Councilmember Such,
Aye.
Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Okay, it's the motion passes 5-0. Okay, item number 3 under new business is to approve the First Amendment to the amended and restated franchise agreement by and between the City of Sonora and Cal Sierra Disposal Incorporated, and authorize the city administrator to execute the agreement. Mary Rose.
Yes, so this item is asking approval of a First Amendment to your franchise agreement with Cal Sierra Waste Management that the city utilizes for its waste services. Your franchise agreement right now was entered into on October 1st, 2010. It's a 10-year agreement, so it would finalize by August 31st of this year. Under the agreement, it stipulates that there has to be a 90-day notice between the parties on whether or not they intend to extend the agreement for an additional 5 years, which is authorized under the franchise agreement, or whether to negotiate an additional agreement or so forth. Because of the COVID crisis, myself and Waste Management have not had the opportunity to negotiate the extension of terms for those additional 5 years. And so at this time, we're asking you to approve a first amendment to extend the term date of your current contract until October 31st, 2020. That will give us additional time to negotiate with the proper 90-day noticing before the agreement ends. Again, it's not to extend it for an additional 5 years like the current contract states. It's just to increase the term till October 31st to give us time to negotiate a potential extension if the parties so choose. So at this time, I will take any questions.
Any questions?
And also,
for staff? Oh, go ahead.
just so you know, there is a representative from Cal Waste, or excuse me, Waste Management, Cal Sierra Disposal on the Zoom, it looks like.
Okay.
If you have questions from them.
Okay, is there any questions for staff? Okay, seeing none, I will open up to public comment and invite the Cal Sierra person if they want to speak as well.
Yep, Mayor and Council, if whoever members of the public would like to speak, if they would press or use the raise your hand function, which for phone is *9, and for it's under the participant tab on computers, and it's under the more function if you're using tablets or phones. You can also use the chat function. I see, oh, I'm sorry, I missed this comment from Councilmember Williams. I see nothing in here about downtown cans and close the lids.
I'll say that again, Doug.
Nothing in here about downtown cans and closing the lids.
So this amendment does not amend any of the terms, the current terms. It just amends the expiration date of the franchise agreement to allow us to negotiate additional terms. So that's why you're not seeing any additional language. We're not asking the council right now to amend any of the current franchise language, just to extend the term at this point to be able to allow us to negotiate.
Okay.
So again, if anybody would like to comment, please use the raise your hand functions, which on a phone is *9.
Okay, is there any public comment on this item?
I do not see any, Mayor.
Okay, I don't see any either. So I will go ahead and close the public comment portion and bring it back to the council for discussion or motion.
Hey, I do have a question. Mary Rose, when is the county's waste management agreement up?
That's a good question. I believe, oh my gosh, Rochelle, correct me if I'm wrong. I think theirs is up in the fall, or theirs is just coming up.
I think there's a couple of years differential, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they, and there was some interest with them to align ours with theirs as
Yes.
well. They have
So
reached out to us about that.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we wanted to bring up in negotiations. Obviously, that takes a bit of time to negotiate with the vendor, with the franchisee. So, you know, the county did reach out to us to see if we could get on the same track as them.
So there's some history behind this. Jim's going to start laughing in a second. 10 years ago, between myself and Ron Stern, we actually originally voted against this agreement. Because at the time, looking at it, I wanted, well, myself, Ron had different reasons for it. He didn't like the trash cans, but we were trying to get the city's contract ahead of the county's, because what was happening at the time, and I'm not saying that this will happen now, what was happening at the time was that the city was following the county's agreement almost to a T, but the way Waste Management was proposing it was, hey, the county's doing this, so city, you have to do this. And the thinking, at least my thinking, was, hey, if the city gets in ahead of time, we get a little bit more bargaining rights, speaking rights. Hey, we would like to do this, or we would like to do something different. Again, it's obviously it's going to be council's decision eventually, but or, you know, whenever we decide to vote on this, but that was the thinking at the time.
Okay. Duly
Yeah,
noted.
just to kind of add on to that. Yeah, there's advantages and disadvantages to being the same time with the county and not same time with the county.
Yeah.
And we just have to be careful and weigh which is the better advantages to us. Really.
And I want to make it clear too that I on something like garbage and waste, that sort of thing, I think we need to do whatever we can to obviously work with the county. But again, it 10 years ago, a decade ago, it wasn't quite the case.
Okay.
All righty. So is there any further, Mr. Plummer?
We spoke about this, which must be some 10 to 14 months ago. I don't remember exactly. I had a concern with the rate of increase, which is based on San Francisco CPI, which I think vastly exaggerates what our people up here are getting in the way of, you know, increased income and other costs. And I had a big concern about that. I would like that to be brought up. I would actually like it if we just talked about this a little bit more as a discussion item. I will vote for this right now because I fully support pushing it off. But this ends up being a big expense when you look at a 10-year contract. And if we're paying an extra 0.5% per year, that adds up to quite a huge amount over time. And we're going to be looking at people struggling to pay bills for probably some number of years. So I would like to look at this very closely and try and cut costs. I have no particular gripes with Waste Management. I think they've done a fine work, but we entered into a contract that I think does not reflect our cost of living increases, and that we should be really wary of that. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion? Then I'll be looking for a motion.
We'll move to approve the 60-day extension of our waste management negotiating period.
I'll second that.
Mayor, before the vote, there's just a question. I don't think it affects anything, but I just want to at least ask Councilmember Williams' question beforehand. Or do you get quarterly and annual reports?
I'm barely made it here a quarter yet. I would suppose that would be the case. I know, especially when they're looking at rate increases, that's when they usually send us the reports. But since I have been here, I have not received a report yet, but I've only been here since February, so.
Okay. Chris, maybe would you know anything about that?
Yeah, we do receive quarterly reports with the franchise money as well.
Okay. Any other comments? Where are we? We got a motion in a second. So if there's any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the question. Mary Rose?
Mayor Garaventa,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Hawkins,
Aye.
Councilmember Plummer,
Yes.
Councilmember Such,
Aye.
and Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Okay, passes unanimously. Okay, that ends new business. Item I is monthly reports. We have monthly reports from the following departments, printed staff reports. They are the Community Development Department, Fire Department, Police Department, and Public Works Department. Is there any comment on those reports? Okay, seeing none. We'll go on to item J, which is communications. There are none. Item K is council member and department head reports. We'll start with community development. Ms. Kellogg.
Thanks. Again, I would like to thank Public Works. I think they've worked really hard to kind of step up and get things ready so we could open City Hall. And they also have worked hard with getting the council chambers up to accessibility compliance. But also I'd like to thank Darren Wardell. Darren actually gave him some guidance on the ramp and helped design it. And that was a big help to the city. So I would like to thank him as well. He's a great guy and he really cares about the city, even though he's a contracted city inspector. He cares very much about the city and doing a good job and helps us out tremendously on a lot of things. Also, I wanted to let you know that we received the check for the 5K run that happened at Dragoon Gulch, which is the donation part of that event. And they donated $2,850.65 to the trail this year. So I just want to let you know that that happened, and we are very grateful for that group.
Very good.
Sure.
Colette, did you have?
Could you, I think you mentioned the ramp earlier and you told us where it was, but could you tell me again, because I missed it? Where's the new ramp?
So it's because of the one step up in the council chambers up to the diocese. We needed to do a ramping system to allow people to get up there and that can't make that step. And so the ramp is going to be on the side where Mary Jane used to sit, on Matt's side of the council chambers. And so it'll be against the wall there. We'll move the tables on that side in a little bit and allow access up to the council table.
Nice, thanks.
Yes, it'll put us in compliance with ADA.
Great.
Yeah, and then there's some handrails and everything as part of that.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Administrative Services Director, Mr. Gorski.
Nothing tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Fire Chief, Ms. New.
Nothing to report tonight. Thank you.
Okay, Police Chief, Mr. Vanderbilt.
Yes, Mary Rose wanted me to share with you one of the COVID response actions we're able to accomplish. It may seem a little bit late in the game, but you never know what's around the corner. So thought we'd share with you that we actually established a city decontamination point, which is basically a setup for potential exposures to city personnel. So we took our old DUI trailer that we had sitting around for a long time. We got many years ago under a grant, a traffic grant. But because it's been sitting around, it needed a lot of work to get it going. And Jay at City Shop did a lot of work to help us out. We had one of our community service officers down there doing some of the manual labor with him. We also got some guidance from our fire chief, but it is essentially it's up and running. It's ready to go if need be. I'm certain we won't need it. I certainly hope we won't need it, but it's there for us if we need it for first responders or actually anybody who seems to who may have potential exposure moving forward. Any questions on that?
Questions for the chief? Nope.
I also wanted to share that as of the 8th of this month, we're finally able to implement our 911 upgrade. For those of you who were around in 2016, the council voted to accept $218,000 of state 911 funds to basically upgrade our integrated 911 system. So it's taken quite some time. We ran into a lot of roadblocks along the way. There's been modifications to the grant. There's been many changes of hands in the state coordinator. We've also had some local challenges here, but it was finally accomplished here 2 weeks ago. And we ended up with 192,000 of it, which, 25K less than we anticipated. But it gets us up to date to meeting California State Next Gen 911 requirements. Basically, it's going to be a more resilient program. It's set up to be a little stronger for natural disasters.
US solids too.
I'm sorry?
No, I think we just had someone is logging in and
Okay. And on top of that, it gets us text to 911 ready and gives us more pinpoint, maybe not pinpoint, but better location accuracy for mobile 911 calls. So we're happy to finally get that in. It's been a long project. And for those of you who remember and maybe wondering what happened, we're finally there. Any questions on that?
Cool. Any questions? Great. Anything else?
Nothing from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. City Attorney, Mr. White.
Nothing more tonight, Mayor and Council.
Okay, Mary Rose, anything, city administration?
Just that we are having another business webinar like we've been having for the past 4 or 5 Wednesdays now. Those webinars are Wednesday at 6 o'clock. They include the county and myself and Councilmember Such. We update the businesses on anything new coming down from the state as far as guidelines, as far as what phase we're in. It's a question and answer period. We have Dr. Ortiz, our public health official, on the webinar as well. The direct link is at tcdisasterassistance.com. There's a lot of valuable information that businesses can go and look to at tcdisasterassistance.com in regards to different programs such as the Paycheck Protection Program loan forgiveness, SBA information. Those are all discussed on the webinar if you have questions. We also go over the checklists and other things. So I urge businesses that have questions to please join us at Wednesdays at 6 o'clock. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Council members, let's go. Councilmember Williams, do you have anything? You're fine? Okay. Councilmember Such? Oh, no, wait. Is there some, Doug?
Yeah, I just muted myself. Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Councilmember Williams made the comment. We had a Zoom meeting for Vision Sonora Design and Marketing Committee on Tuesday.
Oh, good. Very good. Thank you. Councilmember Such. Report.
I just have, there are a couple of webinars that Shaben, is that the name of the business that did our economic development? You know, they have their, I'm sure you're all receiving those emails.
Yes.
About Ask the Economist. They're kind of, you know, I mean, I can't really, I'm not very good with economics, so I can't really repeat any of it because I can't hold on to it, but they're kind of interesting and they're only a half hour. I think they're at 8 or 8:30 in the morning. I've listened to a couple of those. And I think the next one is going to be about just what to expect in the economy moving ahead. So I will certainly, maybe I'll take notes next time so I can actually talk about it with some authority. And that, I just wanted to mention that, you know, I've been Zooming not in on meetings. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Plummer.
Thank you very much, Colette, for that's a perfect segue. And actually for Mary Rose, do we have those type of things linked on our city council webpage at all for businesses in looking? We do. Okay, that's good.
It's on the front page. We have a kind of a button, if you will. It's called COVID-19 resources. If you click there, it'll take you to a web page that has a whole list of different resources for our businesses. We also are trying to make sure that we have a succinct message with the county for all of our businesses within Tuolumne County. So there's a lot of information too on tcdisasterassistance.com, which we have linked from our webpage as well.
Thank you very much. So my comment is that we started this process of economic development with Chabon Concepts, and that was in the other world. Now it's perhaps a little bit premature, but we need to be at least assembling our ideas and getting ready to do everything we can to push economic development again for our local businesses. And most of them are already great, but they're going to be struggling. And anything that we can do to provide leadership and or assistance would doubtless be welcomed. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Hawkins, do you have a report?
I don't have anything tonight other than just the fact that we are getting through this, and I really appreciate city staff.
Great. And as for my report, it would be just to echo exactly what Matt says. Just staff's done wonderful, and we are getting through this, and hopefully things will do much better as we go along. So that's my report. And with that, there's no further business. So I'm going to go ahead and adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much. See y'all later.
Bye, Connie.
Hi,
Bye, Connie.
Hi, Connie.
Likewise.